So as Robin promised, I've got 18 strategies that the book talks about. I'm going to actually go through very briefly all 18, but I really want to talk by sharing stories with you guys. And I also really want to make this interactive and of value for you guys. So I definitely want to leave time for questions, and I want you guys to think about questions throughout. So to that end, two things. First, actually three things. First, this entire deck is on SlideShare already. So you can go to slideshare.net/Dave Kerpen, my SlideShare account, and view the deck, take notes on the deck, download the deck, all that stuff then, which means you don't need to worry at all about taking notes on anything that's here. So the only thing you should think about taking, no problem, think about taking notes on are things that aren't actually in the deck. Secondly, I actually printed out for you guys the 18 strategies that Robin mentioned correspond to the 18 chapters of my book, and each of those chapters also has a set of action items at the end. I've actually printed out all of the action items, and you guys can take that as a take-home today, so that if your head's spinning about actually what you can do with all this information, you can use the action items to apply the what we talk about to your business today. Just out of a quick show of hands, how many of you guys have businesses? Yeah, okay, awesome. And how many of you guys work in marketing for another business? Okay, so most of us are entrepreneurs, and all of us. How many of you guys are not in business or marketing? Okay, cool. So we all have sort of a vested interest in growing our business or someone else's business. Last note is, one of my core values is responsiveness. You'll hear me talk today about the value of responsiveness, and to that end, I definitely encourage all of your questions publicly or privately afterwards. But if there's any question that comes up now, or frankly ever, these are my 3 Twitter handles to ask a question. I respond to every single tweet. I get hundreds a day, and I respond to every single one. If you tweet me at Dave Kerpen, how many of you guys are on Twitter? So I know what the Twitter crowd is. Okay, not bad. Awesome. If you guys tweet me, I'm at Dave Kerpen. I'll take a little bit longer to get back to you. It might take a day or two to get back to you. If you tweet at Likeable Book, Valerie from my book team and the rest of my book team will get back to you. And if you tweet at Likeable Media, somebody from our company will get back to you quickly. Okay, so we're going to talk about social media, the realities of how to use social media to grow your business. But before we do that, I want to take you through 3 myths about social media, because people tend to think a few of these things, and they get really excited about the prospects of social media. The first is social media is not free. Now, social media is a lot less expensive than buying television commercials or radio spots or billboards. It's a lot less expensive than traditional linear media, but it's not free. The major cost to social media, of course, is time. Who said? Somebody in the front row said first. I have some prizes here. You get a book. Good work. The major cost is time, and it really, if you're going to do social media well, it takes a lot of time. Your time, your staff's time, your marketing agency's time, if you work with an agency like ours, interns' time. There's no way around it. Social media takes a lot of time, and therefore is absolutely not free. Second, similar to the time argument, it's not going to bring about instant results, no matter what you do. If you buy a Super Bowl commercial, it's going to drive instant results. If you spend $1 million in Facebook ads, it's not going to drive instant results. Because with social media, you're building relationships, and relationships take time to develop. Now, the good news is that even though it doesn't drive instant results, you can drive very, very powerful results over time, because you can have conversation at great scale. So as you're spending time and money in social media, eventually you're going to hit awesome results, but none of that is going to happen overnight. And anyone that thinks it's going to happen overnight is wrong. And third and finally, social media cannot make up for a bad product or service. In fact, it makes it worse, right? So folks that come to me that or really want to use social media to get the word out about something, I often find myself sort of finding out first about the product. And if the product isn't yet ready for prime time, if it's not perfect, then work on the product before you work on promoting the product in social media, right? Because the worst thing you can do is spend time and energy promoting something across social networks, and then you start spreading the word, everyone's going for viral, and the viral that you get is, this thing sucks, right? So social media can't make up for a bad product or service. So let's go through the 18 strategies, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time on some of them because 18 is a lot, and we have to go home eventually tonight. But the first one I do want to spend some time on because to me it's the single most important value of social media, and that's listening. For years, listening has been 50% of all communication. Any of us that have ever dated know how important it is in any conversation, in any relationship, to listen. And yet, most of marketing and communication has not been about listening. It's been about talking. And social media, for the first time, gives us awesome tools to listen at scale, to listen to our customers, to listen to our prospects, to listen to our competitors, to listen to our competitors' customers, to listen to our staff. There's just so much data out there to listen to and pay attention to. And then not only to listen to it, but then to make that data actionable and actually do something about it. And the story I want to share with you about listening is a story that I open my book with. And it's the same story I tell every senior exec that I meet that doesn't yet understand the power of social media, and specifically that doesn't yet understand the power of Twitter. So when I asked you guys how many of you guys were on Twitter, most of you actually raised your hands, which I was surprised by. It was totally cool. Let me ask you another question. And you don't have to answer for yourself, right? How many of you know at least one senior executive that doesn't yet fully understand the value, the business value of Twitter? Okay, cool. So just about all of you. So this is the story I share with them, and hopefully, if you think it's a valuable story, you can share it with some of those naysayers as well. It takes place about 1.5 years ago. I was staying at the Aria Hotel, which was then the trendiest hotel on the Strip. How many of you guys stayed at the Aria? Anyone? Okay, pretty cool hotel. And I had just taken a flight in from New York, and the flight took 6 hours. I was exhausted, I was frustrated, and I went to check in at the Aria, and I was waiting online for over 45 minutes. So, of course, I was totally angry and frustrated about that, and I did what any big social media nerd would do. I tweeted. Waiting online at the Aria for over 45 minutes, not worth the wait, pound fail, which social media nerd lingo for, you guys real estate. And the Aria was not listening to tweets about them, and they did not respond to my tweet. But the Rio down the street was listening, and the Rio responded to my tweet within 2 minutes. Now, at this point in the story, senior execs always get super excited, and they're like, "This is the ROI moment," and maybe you're thinking what they usually think, which is, what did the Rio say? Come on over, we've got a room with your name on it, or come on over, we'll take great care of you, Dave. They didn't say that. Had they said that, I would have thought two things. First, sort of creepy that they're stalking me this closely. And second, why is it wide open at the Rio when it's jam-packed and happening at the Aria? What the Rio tweeted back to me was the following. "Sorry you're having a bad experience, Dave. Hope the rest of your time in Vegas goes well." Sorry you're having a bad experience, Dave. Hope the rest of your time in Vegas goes well. Well, guess where I stayed the next time I went to Vegas? That's one $600 sale. Then I liked them on Facebook. And of course, just a few months later, I got a Facebook message from a friend that said, "I'm having a family reunion in Vegas. I saw you like the Rio. Do you recommend them?" And I said, "Well, it's not the newest hotel or the fanciest hotel on the Strip, but I can tell you one thing. They have great customer service. They listen to people." She booked 20 people to stay at the Rio off of that recommendation. So one tweet and one like led to thousands and thousands of dollars worth of revenue for them. And none of us would argue that that tweet from the Rio was a marketing message, right? All that was listening and demonstrating that they were listening and empathy. That alone, if you guys take one thing about likable social media, just the value of listening and demonstrating empathy goes a long, long way. So listening should be over 50% or at least 50% of any conversation. That means once you start listening, then you actually have to start doing something about it. I hate the word monitoring. How many of you guys use a company right now to monitor something in social media? Okay, so just a few. Maybe some of you guys are just getting started. There are all these companies in the monitoring space that sort of, they do, they keep track of what's going on. But like so much of social media, I like to step out of the marketer's shoes, the business person's shoes, and think about how I feel as a customer. And I don't like to be monitored. Any of you guys like to be monitored? Like, monitoring is like what the CIA does for suspects, right? Listening is what people that care about you do. So think about how you can listen to your customers and prospects and not monitor them. And ultimately, the cost of not listening is that your competitors are going to be listening and leveraging that data, right? So eventually, there's really no choice but to listen to what your customers and your prospects are talking about. And Best Buy does a really good job with their 12th Force. Best Buy has hundreds of staff people that are listening to people ask questions on Twitter about electronics products, not just Best Buy products. That's the key thing. Okay, people can ask them questions about Best Buy products, but the really cool thing is people can ask questions about any electronics, and the 12th Force on behalf of Best Buy is going to help them and answer their questions. By the way, if you guys have questions along the way, you can just throw your hands up. No worries, and then we'll take questions at the end as well. Second is women, way beyond women 25 to 54. Social media gives us massive opportunity to target the right people. In the past, we used television, print, direct mail to target people by these huge demographic categories: men, women 25 to 54, seniors, 18 to 24 females. Well now, and then cable came along and you got opportunities to target a little bit better. Well now, you can use Facebook to target women 21 to 22 in New York that are CFOs at companies. You can use Facebook's ad criteria to target literally by anything and everything. And then Twitter's even better. You can use Twitter to target people that are asking for what you have. Okay? So I just did a Twitter search for when I come over here for the words need and lawyer, and I found people that are asking right now for lawyers. Right? So if you're a lawyer, you can go onto Twitter right now and look for people that are tweeting need a lawyer. Like, there's never been that opportunity to tap into very, very specific needs and wishes from your customers and your prospects. Like, it's the most amazing thing that's really ever hit marketing to me.
So with that Rio example, what were they searching for that got you?
Okay, so good question. So with the Rio, I think they were searching for competitive hotels, and the reality is they were probably searching based on influence also. So we're going to get into that. Well, I'll get into that right now. Why not? Scaling this is hard, admittedly. But the Rio didn't necessarily have to listen for every single person that was talking about every single hotel that they compete with. They might have been listening for people with a certain amount of influence. So the reality is, because I have lots of Twitter followers, I have more influence than somebody without a lot of Twitter followers, and there's a little bit more value in the Rio talking to me than in talking to anyone. And so there's this new concept really of online influence. How many of you guys know your Clout score? Okay, just a few. How many of you guys have heard of Clout? A lot more. So this Clout is the leading company in online influence, and there are others competing with them certainly, and it's a ways to go before we see who wins the space. But the idea behind Clout and online influence is that everyone has a certain amount of influence based on how many followers they have and friends and LinkedIn connections and how much action that influence creates. Actually, I'll give away a prize to the person that can tell me, don't call out now, the person that can tell me the most influential person in the world according to Clout. The most influential, go.
Lady Gaga.
Not Lady Gaga, she's number 2. I was close. She's number 2, in the back. Justin Bieber, nice job. Yeah, give him a round of applause for knowing and loving Justin Bieber. It's great to have a fan, a fellow fan. Well, you know, and by the way, number 3 is Barack Obama. So you've got Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga just one step up from Barack Obama, but you know the reality is it's all math-based and it's all truly based on action. When Justin Bieber tweets, people retweet him, people click on his links, people take action. Just a little bit more than when Lady Gaga and Barack Obama tweet and share messages on Facebook, etc. And I really believe that we're at the very beginning of you know, you guys are all marketers, but we're all consumers as well. And we all have huge opportunities to grow our personal brand and grow our own personal influence using these social networks. And in the same way that if Britney Spears walked into your store, you would take great care of her right now. She's like a celebrity and you would feel like, oh, I got to take great care of her because she's Britney Spears. Online influencers, people with very high clout scores, need to be taken care of a little bit faster than people that are less influential. And the Rio was almost definitely responding to the fact that I tweeted about a competitive hotel, so they were searching for that term, and yes, based on my online influence, I met whatever criteria they were looking for. Great question, thanks. Any other questions about online influence or that story, or the second one? Okay, cool. Think and act like your customer. So I'm going to show you this crazy thing here. How many of you guys know what this is? Okay, so this crazy formula is, in my humble opinion, the most important innovation of our time. I know, crazy. So let me explain it. In order to explain it, first I'm going to ask you how you feel about email. Actually, I don't have my own smartphone today. This is the first time I've ever spoken without my smartphone. Usually I take it out. So everyone, either take out in your hands, take out your smartphone, because I really want you to feel this. I want you to have a visceral experience about this right now. And tell me, or think about, how you feel about getting email. How you feel about getting email all day and all night on that smartphone device. And if there is anyone in the room that loves getting email, raise your hand.
Which kind of email?
Okay, fine. So often I get 1 or 2 folks in a room this big or much bigger that will go for it and say they actually love getting email. There's so few of us that like email anymore because email has been completely abused as a marketing channel. It's been destroyed. And over 90% of email is unwanted. Even if it's not illegal spam unwanted, it's, you know, that mailing list that you signed up for that you don't really want at the time that you're getting it. Or it's that reply all from the idiot that insists upon sending the email to the entire company. Or it's, for a wide variety of reasons, not what you want at the given time that you're getting it. And Gmail and some of the other providers have gotten better filters, but ultimately email has become a very, very poor marketing channel and a channel that we as consumers have grown to hate. Contrast email with this algorithm, which is essentially called it's EdgeRank. This is Facebook's formula for determining what shows up in your news feed on Facebook. So you guys are all on Facebook? Yes? Raise your hand if you're on Facebook. Is there anyone that's still not on Facebook? If no, okay, get on Facebook tonight. It'll help.
I want to get on Facebook.
Well, you know, I know, but unfortunately it's very hard to be in marketing or business, you know, and really not, we can talk after, but I want you to be on Facebook. You can be, I can be your first friend.
Too much time.
Well, you don't value the time. You don't value the time. You're not going to spend time doing something until you value it. So my hope is that by the end of the night you'll say, okay, I see some business value. I'm going to jump on it. We'll come back to you. So this determines what shows up in your newsfeed based on a number of factors. What's relevant to you? What are your friends liking and commenting on? How much have you interacted with the friend or brand that's sharing this message at the time? So whereas email sends you everything, Facebook sends you, based on this algorithm, what's most important to you. That's why you see stuff in your newsfeed from your friends, your closer friends ideally, and people that you have a lot in common with. And for consumers, this is awesome because we don't get the junk anymore. The marketing spammy junk that goes to our email does not go to our news feeds on Facebook. But for marketers and business people, this is a big challenge because this means you can no longer share marketing spammy content. You have to share relevant content. You have to share likable content because it's getting likes and comments on your content that's going to determine whether you even show up in people's news feeds. Would your customer click like? Would your customer share this content? Would your customer comment on the content? And if they wouldn't click like, then don't bother sending it. Because if you send it, no one's going to click like, and it's not even going to appear in people's news feeds. Now, I say, in many ways, social media is the great equalizer of our time, and this is another way that social media is an awesome equalizer. Because you can have a huge company. Anyone here work for Gulf? Good, I'll make fun of them. You can have Gulf, and they could spend a lot of money on 10 million Facebook fans. And we could have Joe's, someone have a small business? Give me the name of a small business that you've got. What's the name of your Italian villa company?
Bravo Villas.
Bravo Villas. So Bravo Villas only has 100 people that like them on Facebook. Gulf has 10 million people. Gulf shares a Facebook update saying, check out our latest deals and why we're so great. And Italian Villas shares a picture, just a picture with no text, of one of your beautiful villas. That picture generates likes. Those 100 people, your 100 fans, are going to see the Italian Villas content and the 10 million, ahead of the 10 million people that like Gulf. So the likable content wins. The better content wins, despite any sort of money that you put towards generating huge fan bases and huge attention. Yeah.
I've been on Facebook and LinkedIn both since the beginning. Yet on my Facebook, where I have a limited number of friends, but a couple hundred, most if I never read them for days, it wouldn't matter. On LinkedIn, I'm constantly getting leads and ideas. I really don't care about Susie's aunt having a baby. That stuff is on there. So although the tweets are coming, postings are coming from my friends, then that's really relevant to what I'm interested in.
Sure. So for you, for many of you guys, when I talk about Facebook, I'll be talking about Facebook business pages versus your personal profile. So you guys are all on Facebook personally. How many of you guys also administer or manage a Facebook business page? Okay. All right. So not that many of you, but certainly to the extent that these principles apply to Facebook business pages, LinkedIn, and Twitter, I think you'll see some real value there, strictly from a business standpoint. Remember, with your Facebook business page, which you have a business?
Yeah, but it's a sort of strategic consulting M&A, so I don't want to be talking about most of what I'm doing most of the time.
Okay, that's so interesting. Social media challenge to not be wanting to talk about what you're doing, but when I talk about sharing value, I'll talk a little bit about what we do. But certainly anything. So you're not sharing content on LinkedIn either, really?
No, I'm just looking for what other people are doing and analyzing into competitive intelligence and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
But I'm not in a position where I say, by the way, I'm working on a deal and you should go buy the stock, otherwise I'd be sharing content for $9.
Yeah. Well, I get a lot of info from M&A firms via email, though. So my guess is there is some content that you can put out there. But we can talk about it after. It sounds like your case might be pretty specialized in not needing some of the broadcast capabilities of Facebook and other social networks. So anyway, the newsfeed determines what's important, and then here's an example of the newsfeed in action. And literally, you only see content based on what my friends are liking, based on the content that's generating lots of comments and likes. And every time you share content, you're competing not only with other businesses, but you're competing with everyone's friends. So all the more reason that the content that you create and share has to be truly likable, relevant content. So the next is compel your customers to be your first fans. People are always telling me, I'm going to take away Zuck so you look at me, thanks. People are always telling me, Dave, how come I don't have a lot of likes? Dave, how come I don't have a lot of followers? Dave, how come I don't have a lot of, of fans? And unless you're a big brand, it's not going to come naturally that you drive a ton of likes or fans or followers right away. And so the first thing I always say to folks is, think about the people that already know you and like you, right? Your customers, your vendors, your stakeholders. Those are the folks that are going to be your first fans, and then you can let word of mouth marketing kick in. So this is my friend and client, Ed Zuckerberg. He does happen to be Mark's dad, but he's a dentist in Dobbs Ferry. He has over 1,200 likes, and over 80% of his patient base has liked him. So who's going to like a dentist, right? It's hard to like a dentist, especially if you don't know them. But if you know them, then you can like them, and that's where the word of mouth marketing kicks in. He's gotten over 50 referrals from people who noticed that their own friends liked him on Facebook. Next is engage. Once you start once you start the conversation by listening, and then people are going to actually talk, and then it's your job to keep talking, keep the conversation going. So Entenmann's here starts by asking a trivia question about an old Entenmann's commercial, and then a bunch of people answer, and then you can see Entenmann's truly engaging with people, going that back and forth dialogue. And this is what social media allows that other forms of marketing don't, right? Other forms of marketing are one-directional. Social media is potentially two-directional, and companies have the opportunity not only to just listen and then talk, but keep that dialogue going and engaging the whole time. Next is respond quickly to all negative comments, right? So you have the opportunity when people have not so nice things to say to you to either try to delete them or respond to them and turn them around. And I believe that the best method in any case with a negative comment on Facebook or on a review site or on any blog is to respond publicly, sharing with the world that you're dealing with the issue privately, and then de-escalate the situation, and then hopefully turn the situation around. So Taylor Graziano writes, pancake pockets are the worst things I've ever tried. They made me throw up of their strawberry disgust. And Entenmann's responds, hey Taylor, thank you for your feedback. Did you heat them or eat them at room temp? We're really sorry that you had a bad experience. It's okay, everything else is great. So from angry fan to a quick response to somebody liking the product super quickly. Here's my favorite of all time. Ray Umstadt-Einhoff writes on the Verizon page, hey Verizon, why won't you give me my money back? I signed up for your Verizon bundle pack and I'm paying $300 a month and my service is supposed to cost about $120. We call you every month and the problem is never fixed. Funny thing is I know of about 10 other people you're doing this to, telling them one price and billing them another and not refunding money when you admit you guys are wrong. You guys suck, and a lawsuit may be in your near future. Have a great day, you bunch of crooks. So earlier I asked you guys how many of you guys know some senior execs that don't yet fully understand Twitter or social media. As you can imagine, there may have been some senior exec somewhere in the world that wanted to delete such a comment, right? But what happens when you delete a negative comment? You anger the person even more. They figure out somewhere else to go, and they get angrier somewhere else. Any of you guys seen the United Breaks Guitars video? Okay, check it out. It's essentially United screwed up this guy's, or they broke this guy's guitar. He complained to them. They refused to respond or fix it. So he made a YouTube video singing about how United broke his guitar, and now over 20 million people have watched the video, and arguably it's had real business impact on United. Right? One simple case of not responding and seeing what can happen. So anyway, cooler heads prevailed. They did not delete the comment. In fact, we responded. Sorry you're having an issue, Ray. We've sent you a private message to fix the problem. And just a few days later, this same guy posted, I want to thank Fans of Fios for fixing my billing problem. Devin was awesome and I would like to thank her for her help. Had a regional manager call us today and went over the bill, corrected our bill. Thank you. And for the record, I love the file service and the extreme internet package makes me jump up and down every time I download anything or play a game. Thank you, Verizon Fios. No more crookcasts for us. The same guy, right? Like, I couldn't have written better marketing copy. And all it was customer service, responsive, being responsive. I used to say there's a fine line between marketing and customer service. online. Now I believe there's no line between marketing and customer service. It's all the same. Yes, sir.
Did I hear you say that we responded, meaning you responded on behalf of Verizon?
Right. So what our agency does in many cases is work with brands
Okay.
to manage enterprise social media
Can you
communities.
say any more about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to.
I don't mean Verizon in particular, but how you... Anything more?
Sure. I mean, I'm certainly not going to make this commercial for us, but you know what agencies like ours do is manage communities on behalf of brands, and you know use brand guidelines to create content and then respond, community manage. So I strongly recommend that folks either internally or externally with an agency or both build and manage communities like this. Does that answer your question a little bit? Great. Yes.
It's probably not relevant, but it seems like what are the other 10 guys doing? Does everyone have to post an angry message? I would still think they probably suck.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, for me, when I see this, that makes me think that that's a company I want to work with. Because the reality is that many companies suck, many companies make mistakes, but the company I want to deal with as a consumer is a company that fixes the problem, that recognizes when they have problems, that fixes the problems, and that deals with customers honestly and transparently. And I strongly believe, my next book is called Likeable Business, so I really, really believe that we are going into a new dawn, a new age in our society where companies don't have a choice about being responsive or being transparent. That companies that don't take care of people are going to perish because the company next door is taking care of its customers. I do. Okay, good. Lots of hands. Very exciting. Yes.
Just a quick question. So your company responded on behalf of Verizon. How did you find this tweet? Do you search by Verizon, or again, is it Verizon and then most influential?
So this is a Facebook message. So in this case,
They posted on the
they
Facebook.
posted on the Facebook
Okay,
page, and with Twitter, it's based on search terms as well.
Terms, okay.
Right. So if you search your company, one of my favorite things to do. It all depends on how big your company is, right? One of my favorite things to do is do a search for a company name and then the word need, a company name and the word wish, a company name and the word suck, right? Because you're going to find what customers are saying they want from you, from this company, right? What they wish for, what they need, and what sucks about you. And if it doesn't work for, if your company's not big enough to generate lots of results there, do it for a competitor or do it for the industry. Think about what terms, right? Like, I'm looking for an M&A company right now to look at selling our firm, right? So I can search for people that write, M&A and great to see what people, what companies people are saying are great. Whatever your company or your industry, you can think about what sort of search terms are that would describe people saying good things, people saying bad things, people describing needs, etc. Yes.
You picked, a great response. First of all, the person responded almost in a way that would seem like your agency would have written the response.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oftentimes, individuals, even when they mean to be positive, they're negative. They just have a way of twisting it.
Yes.
So how do you encourage them to respond, number one, to respond in such a way, et cetera, that,
Yeah. Well, it's a hard one. You can't control. Ultimately, the thing about social media is that everyone and people are starting to get this, but you absolutely have to surrender control. You cannot control what they're going to say ever. We just can't anymore, right? I mean, I'm a crazy obsessed person about my Amazon reviews, right? So every day I check my reviews, and I was telling my staff this just right before we came over. I got this review. Greatest book. I loved it. Everything. Every page was wonderful. It's 4 stars. So, that's fine. It's wonderful and everything. But of course, I'm an egomaniac. I wanted the 5 stars. So I just commented. Thank you so much for your wonderful review. I really appreciate it. Just out of curiosity, what would I have had to do to get 5 stars for you? So, there is no way to control the conversation. You can guide it. Okay. So I honestly don't recall what we did in this situation for Ray, but sometimes, certainly when we resolve conflicts, we might say, hey, we'd really, we'd appreciate it if you'd let the world know. When I get tweets when I get tweets about my book, I say, thank you so much for your kind feedback. Hey, if you can take a minute to leave a review on Amazon, that would really make a big difference for me. And I just do it authentically, and some people do and some people don't, and then some people do and then they give me 2 stars, and then it's my problem. But
any tips about guiding? Because
the basics are really big. The 4 most important words in social media are thank you and I'm sorry. If you say thank you to people, that's big. Like, people like to be thanked. And if you screw up, say I'm sorry, and they will respond. And like, how many lawyers in the room? Any lawyers? Hopefully not. Okay, awesome. One. I'm going to diss you. The thing about lawyers that drives me crazy is that they don't want to use the words I'm sorry sometimes in social media. But I'm sorry is not an admission of guilt. I'm sorry is just a conversation. I'm sorry is saying you feel bad that you had a shitty experience. And if you just say I'm sorry that you've had a bad experience, I'm sorry that you're feeling this way, like that alone goes a long way towards people feeling that empathy. So much of social media is really, it's common sense. It's thinking about what you would want in that situation. And so those are really the best tips I have. Yes?
I just wanted to share, in my last employer, we had to vet a lot of what we posted through the legal team, and there was an unhappy client who posted something bad, and my team had written up a response, we're really sorry that you're unhappy, and we'll, blah, blah, blah. And interestingly enough, they refused to allow us to put the I'm sorry piece in there. But interesting, the Rio apologized to you, and they had nothing to do with your being dissatisfied.
Right.
So they're not. It's not that they're taking blame for you being dissatisfied. They just are empathizing.
Yeah.
And you try to tell a lawyer, like, look, we're just empathizing. We're not really admitting guilt that we've screwed this customer. We're just empathizing, and they wouldn't allow us to post it. So I totally agree.
Yeah. And depending on your legal team and the size of your company, it can be hard to show empathy, but it's really important. It is, and companies are learning that of all sizes, and they're moving in the right direction. Okay, one more, and then I think we'll keep moving so that we get through. Yes.
How quickly do you get back to people, just on average?
As quickly as possible. The reality is, I like to think about how fast I would like to be responded to, and I would like to be responded to fast. So Twitter's a faster channel than Facebook. So on Twitter, depending on the brand, within 4 to 6 hours certainly, and then on Facebook, I would say within 24 hours.
That's reasonable.
Same thing as LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay, so as important as it is to respond to the negative stuff, to me it's even more important to respond to the positive stuff. The negative stuff is going to save your butt and turn things around. The positive stuff is going to get the word spreading about the people that know you and love you. So these are your people, to quote Jerry Maguire, these are your ambassadors of Quan. These are your people that love you so much that they're willing to go out of their way to say something nice on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or a review site. Well then, these are people even more important not to ignore and to respond to. And here's the fun thing. You can really create your brand personality around the way that you respond to positive people, right? So I said thank you are the most important words, two of the most important words in social media. Well, there's 1,000 different ways to say thank you depending on your individual brand. You might be an expert, you might be serious, you might be fun, you might be friendly, you might be wacky, you might be interesting, you might be gentle. And developing that brand personality and then executing that can be really a lot of fun. So we have a client, Cumberland Farms. They make, any of you guys know Cumbies from the New England? Okay, awesome. And they make a product called Chill Zone. You probably don't know Chill Zone unless you have teenage children. Anyone have a Chill Zone? It's like a Slurpee, okay, to use the competitor. It's a frozen beverage. It's really, really popular with teenagers. Exactly, and not so popular with others. But when we manage their Facebook page, and Ben writes, sometimes I just lay under the faucet and chug Chill Zone until I pass out. Chill Zone responds, "Ha ha, what a baller." Now, this is a company. This is owned by Cumberland Farms, which is a sizable company, and they're having real fun with that personality. Now, my guess is you guys probably don't have don't represent beverages for teens, but whatever company you represent or own, social media gives you a unique opportunity to express that brand personality in a very human way. Here's an example from Project Paranormal, and just, she writes, "I love all things vampire," and so sort of talking about her experience, and Project Paranormal just writes, "Thanks for sharing," real simple, and you can see how quickly she responds again, "Thanks for responding." That's a dialogue that is, in fact, building a relationship with this customer that has meaning over time. Be authentic. So for my next prize, who can tell me the actor on Facebook with the most likes? The actor on Facebook. This is a hard one, guys, so actually this is going to be a double prize. The book and the giant thumb. The actor on Facebook with the most likes.
I was gonna say Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher, good guess, but it's not Ashton. Same. Okay. Anyone else? And then I'll give you a clue.
Charlie Sheen.
Okay, Charlie Sheen. No, it's not him, and don't call out. Sorry. But it would make it very hard if you call. Yes.
George Clooney?
No, one more.
Matt Damon?
No. Okay, so now don't call out. Raise your hand if you think you know. The initials are VD.
Did you say?
Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is correct. Good job. Give him a round of applause. Okay, so you guys just had the same exact reaction that everyone always has when I do this, which is like, Vin Diesel? Exactly. I either get who's Vin Diesel, right, where they're not good business crowd like you, or Vin Diesel's not the most talented, most popular, best actor. It's hard to argue what he's the most of, except authentic. Like, he lays it out there. His own personal situation, his family, his pictures, his innermost thoughts. And that authenticity really works to develop a fan base to the point where he has just about 20 million fans. Now, authenticity is much harder for big businesses, but the good news is, for most of you guys, it's a lot easier for small businesses. And small businesses have an opportunity to get a big step up over the competition by sharing their own authentic self, their own even vulnerability about things. People really respond to, in the same way that we respond in real life to real vulnerability, people respond to the notion of authenticity in social media.
It's a good example, of course, is the way Jeremy Lin, why people liked him so much. He was certainly not the best basketball player ever, but he's being from Harvard and being humble and saying team player. I mean, the number of hits on his Facebook page went up by thousands.
Yeah, he's a big deal. I do think he's the best basketball player ever, but that next.
He went to Harvard.
Okay, I hate him. So next is, and I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit because it's late and I want to take questions at the end too. And we have 18 of these puppies. Be honest and transparent. Admit when you make a mistake. Tell the world what's watching. I like Educational Employees Credit Union, a client of ours, admittedly, but for a financial institution, they're honest. It's very hard to be honest and transparent in many verticals, including financial. They do a very nice job of that. Create engaging content. These are the top 10 reasons that consumers like fan pages on Facebook. You don't have to take notes. It's in the SlideShare. But you want to create content that people like and want to share. Valuable, engaging content. Provide value. Our company has 23,000 likes or so on Facebook. Every single day, we give away lots and lots of content. Blog articles, webinars, white papers. We give away tons and tons of content on social media marketing. So much so that I've had not one but two people walk up to me at conferences and say, "Dave, I just want to thank you for all the valuable content that you have shared with us over the last couple of years. And I've actually started my own social media agency with everything I've learned from you." True story. So we've gotten, not only have we helped competitors, but we've inspired competitors. But for those two people, we've gotten dozens of people that call us and email us every single week wanting to do business with us. We don't have a sales force. We get inbound leads every week because we've established the credibility. I got a phone call a few months ago from a major brand that said, we've been following you for over a year. We love your stuff. We're big brands. We have to do an RFP, okay? But we have $250,000. It's yours. So that was a $250,000 sale we got for doing, on the one hand, for doing nothing. On the other hand, for creating valuable content each and every day for 2 years. Right? Of all of our Facebook updates, Twitter updates, and LinkedIn updates, we've probably had 10,000 updates across all 3 platforms. We've probably shared 10 of them that were self-promotional. Right? Less than 1/10% of all updates have been self-promotional. The rest are all value-driven, creating value for our potential users. What does that value do? It builds trust, it builds reputation, and eventually it builds sales. 5% off is not value, 5% off is marketing. 50% off is value. 100% off is gaining loyal lifetime fans. Every brand has a story. Actually, Robin sort of shared my story, right? So you guys already know my story, but that's a picture that we use to share our story about our sponsored wedding at 1-800-Flowers, Smirnoff, Entenmann's, David's Bridal, all sponsored. We raised $100,000 to cover the cost of a wedding. We raised $20,000 for charity. The event was such a huge PR success that after the event, our vendors said, "This was awesome. What are you guys doing next?" We couldn't get married again, so we started a company. So that's 10 seconds of copy, 1 picture, tells a story. It used to be, how did you tell a story if you were a brand, if you're a business? A 30-second spot on television or radio. That's very, very expensive. Now you can tell a story every day on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. A story about how you were founded, a story about a customer, a story about a staff person, a story about overcoming obstacles, a story about community partnerships, a story about charitable giving. There's just so many stories that you have to tell that will endear you to your prospects and customers much more than the marketing stuff. The only thing better than sharing your story is inspiring your customers to share their story about you. McDonald's, you guys have all heard of them. They spend a lot of money on marketing and advertising. This is one thing that they didn't spend money on. This is the I Love Mary at McDonald's in Chandler, Arizona Facebook page. Okay? Mary is a staff person at the Chandler, Arizona McDonald's. Now, I think it's really awesome that there are 1,400 people on the I Love Mary at McDonald's in Chandler Facebook page. That's totally awesome. But I'm even more impressed by the comments on their wall. Okay? I haven't seen Mary lately. Where has she been? Happy People Day, Mary. We love you in the Rocky Mountain region. And my all-time favorite, Mary is the best. This is the picture of us at my 40th birthday party on Saturday night. I know, that's another story. Yes, it's at McDonald's. But this is a company that spends billions on advertising. And yet, this Facebook page about Mary at the McDonald's in Chandler, Arizona, to me, is more valuable than any sort of marketing that they could spend. I really want to go to Chandler just to meet Mary, right? Just to go to this McDonald's and meet Mary. I don't know about you guys. So, the question I have for you guys is, who's your Mary? And even more important, who's your Delin Lucas Bach, right? Who are your customers that like you enough to go out and evangelize at this level in social media? Because this is what drives real word-of-mouth marketing. Integrate social media into the entire experience. Social media is not an unrelated field. It's not like you have your company and your business and your marketing and then your social media. Social media absolutely has to be integrated into the entire customer experience, from every email you send to packaging if you're in the product space, to texting, to business cards, to any possible way to integrate fully, any part of the customer experience. So this is a very little known fact. From any mobile phone anywhere in the world that's connected to Facebook, you can type space the name of a page and text that to FBOOK, which is 32665, and like a page from anywhere, right? So right now, if you guys didn't believe me, for instance, you could text space Likeable Media to 32665 and you would like my page. But seriously, this is an amazing tool. Think about it. If a restaurant did this at the front of the line while you're waiting to sit down, get a free dessert if you like us first. Or for big companies, if you took some of the inventory you had from a sporting event, and instead of 30 seconds doing some dumb little promo, you said everyone take out your smartphones and text like space, my big brand to 32665, and you could generate 10,000 new likes in 30 seconds of material. And then this is a package of Oreos. So on every package of Oreo double stuffed, they have this dunk or don't. Which side are you on? Tell us at facebook.com/Oreo. Every package. That's part of the reason Oreo has over 20 million fans. So that's free for them, but it drives a lot of likes. And notice that is very, very different from the Facebook icon that I see everywhere. Right? That's very, very different from like us on Facebook. Right? Everywhere I go, I see that now. On buses, on billboards, everywhere. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Why? What's in it for me? What's the value prop? Right? Folks have to think about what the value proposition is for the customer. And this is, I see this, I'm like, dunk, obviously. So then I go to Facebook, and by the way, I have to click like before I take the poll, and that generates many, many millions of likes just from the packaging. Use Facebook ads for greater impact. So, in case you haven't picked up on this, and not the biggest fan of traditional media and marketing, but I'm a huge fan of Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads and social media and Twitter ads, social media ads, because of the targeting capabilities, because of two things. First, the targeting capabilities. So you can, as I said earlier, if you wanted to target on LinkedIn only CEOs of tech companies in New York, you could. If you wanted to target on Facebook only marketing directors in Long Island, you could. So that job title criteria, that company criteria, if you wanted to target, for a while I targeted Facebook employees just to help establish my relationship with them. And then the second thing that's so powerful about word of mouth, about Facebook ads and social media ads is built into the ad unit is the social relevancy. So if I take out an ad targeting friends of my fans, then inside the ad, for everyone that sees that ad, you're going to see inside the ad a statement about which of your friends already like that product. Word of mouth marketing built into the ad. So before we even show you an ad, think about if you're sitting at home watching TV one night, and the commercial comes on, and for some reason you don't DVR it like I do, but fine. The commercial comes on, and in the upper right-hand corner of the car commercial, you see a picture of your buddy saying, "Check out this car. I love this car." That'd be amazing, right? Or you're listening to the radio, and at the end of the radio spot, you hear, "5 of your friends, including Dave, will like this furniture store." That would be the coolest thing ever, right? That'd be amazing. But Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads have that already. It's built into the ad unit. So it's awesome. So I told you guys about the targeting and how great it is. I put that to the test a couple years ago when I was away at a conference. I started talking about hyper-targeting and nano-targeting. And I went onto Facebook and I took out an ad targeting 34-year-old married female employees of Likeable Media. The ad said, "I love you, Carrie." Right? Of the 850 million people on Facebook, Carrie was the only person that saw that ad. So, sort of silly and goofy unless you want to do it for a birthday or an anniversary or Valentine's Day for your spouse. But the idea is, it's not important to reach the 850 million people. There's a line from The Social Network. What's cooler than $1 million, $1 billion? I say the opposite line when I'm talking about Facebook ads. You know what's cooler than reaching 850 million people on Facebook? Reaching the correct 850. Reaching the perfect 85, right? Whoever your perfect target audience is, you can reach them using social media. So you know, I did this as a joke, or, you know, just to impress my wife, but if you wanted to reach the 10 CEOs of 10 companies in your town, you could type in the CEO into the job title category and the name of that company into the job title, into the company field, and reach only those 10 people to introduce yourself and to start building a relationship with those people. Admit when you make a mistake and then leverage it. Loft did a really nice job of this. They posted, fans started posting complaints about how all their pictures for this new line were from these really skinny models. And so the next day, Loft apologized, and then they shared pictures of their entire staff wearing the line. So the people of all shapes and sizes wearing the line. And it saw a huge impact, earned media beyond Facebook, and drove sales. So everyone's going to screw up. That's the thing. We all screw up all the time. The beauty is you can use social media to very quickly leverage it when you screw up, say you're sorry, fix the problem, and make it even better than it would have been had you not screwed up in the first place. And then finally, don't sell. Instead, just compel your customers to buy. It's really all in the mentality, right? None of us like to be sold to, or most of us don't like to be sold to, but we all like to be buyers. So in creating an atmosphere on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, it's all about showing the world, teaching the world what you do, showing the world the value you provide, and then being there when it comes time to make a decision, right? That's all the Rio did was demonstrate empathy and show me that they're there. And when it came time to make a decision, it was very easy for me to book a hotel at the Rio. So how can you make yourself easy and compelling to buy as a product or company? Here's the Facebook, and really you could replace this with social media, right? The social media marketing funnel. It's a little bit longer than the traditional marketing funnel. In the middle here, we have this added layer of education, engagement, likability. It definitely takes longer to go from a random person that's never heard of your company to a customer using social media tools. But the beauty is, it does happen, and then when it happens, you have this repeat engagement piece. You have this opportunity to create more sales and more activity and even more loyal customers and fans. Okay, so that's all I got for you. I know 18 is a ton. Remember, you get the action items to go home. I am going to do a grand prize in a minute as well. My personal 4 favorites, if you're not going to go home with 18, remember the key: listening, being transparent, responding to everyone, and at the end of the day, just like you are in real life, in your conversation, just be likable. So that's all I got. All right, so that's the book. Thank you guys so much for having me. You guys have been an awesome crowd.